Now, your question, which was a very important question. It's a very important question.
Okay.
Yeah, very important question.
It's funny because I'm a teacher. I'm so used to a group, but I realise that I'm always false in the group, like I've got a job.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
my question was related, my name's Libby, related to the fact that, well, it was from an earlier question that when we start feeling symptoms in our bodies or pain, that then is a suppression of our emotions. But going on with what AJ was saying about I am needing a reassurance that all that energy that went into crying and grieving, that it was not just wasted, but I want to know why my foot hurt so much, why my back went into spasm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thanks, Libby.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can everyone understand the question? Very important question. Right. Our body is a perfect machine, for a start. That's the first thing to understand. Your body is a perfect machine telling you everything about your emotions. It's just a lot of times we don't listen to it. Now, here's our body. Oh, true Libby, right? Not quite a good drawing of Libby, but... Now, you had a problem, which ankle? Left, right?
It's my right back.
Right back ankle, down here?
It's not my ankle, it's kind of like the heel, but the bit that touches the surface.
Here, the heel itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other place where your lower back?
Yeah,
down here?
Switch.
In this area here?
It's in the back.
At the back?
I had acupuncture, and because I had so much grief around the anniversary of a death, they were just saying that the energy that's supposed, in that organ that's supposed to be fed is the heart, and that was depleted. Therefore, it was like a knock-on effect.
So you were feeling grief, which is a very, very heart-based emotion. Right, so let's describe what's happening. When our emotions are in layers, by the way. So often what will happen is the first emotions that rise up are the emotions that we find most acceptable. And the ones that come up afterwards are the emotions that we find less acceptable. And then the emotions that come up right at the end are the ones we find unacceptable. Okay. So what actually happens is that we often have pushed so many emotions down that when the first emotion starts rising in, from a spirit perspective, the emotion sort of flies out of us. Like if you see it as a spirit, you'll actually see emotion as a certain colour flying out of the spirit body as the person's processing their emotion. Does that make sense? And the reason why I'm saying that is a lot of spirits have noticed that effect, who are here today, have noticed that effect but don't understand what it is. But it's the emotion coming out of them. When they experience the emotion's flying out of them. When that emotion flies out of them, it unlocks this certain areas in your body, in your soul. As soon as the emotion flows, the area that the emotion was locking up in your body gets unlocked. Now, what happens when things get unlocked? You know, I was fixing the drains the other day, and I had a problem with my drains. And if you could think of that as a pipe with a block here, and a block here, and a block here. Now, and this is where the water's going to flow out of down there. What's probably going to happen is you'll fix that blockage. In other words, that will become open. What happens then? A little bit comes out, which is the bit between there and there, and then this blockage gets exposed, right? And what you will find as soon as you experience one emotion, usually within a day or two of experiencing these emotions, you'll find another blockage will be automatically exposed. And this is what's so difficult about doing this emotional work, is because it feels like, oh no, not another one, right? I'm not ready for this one, and I'm not ready for this one today at work, you know, and in fact, in front of 20 people, I'm certainly not ready for this one. But the truth is that your soul feels that you are ready for it right at that moment. But we often don't think that, do we? Right? So what we do instead is we block it. Now, what's probably happened is you've cried away a lot of grief. which has unblocked your heart area a lot. Does that make sense? There's still more there, but it's unblocked that heart area a lot. But in here is some deep emotions of unworthiness, right? They are a whole set of different emotions. They're not the same emotions as the grief emotions that you were just dealing with about the loss of a friend, right? That emotion is being dealt with very well. You are clearing that emotion. It's one of the first emotions that is there ready for you to deal with, and you're dealing with that very well. You're letting yourself grieve. But the grief is actually covering over this deep feelings of unworthiness, of losing, what it means to lose friends. And, there's a lot of tied in emotions with the unworthiness in there with this grief. And those emotions will start getting exposed, and it's those emotions you don't want to feel yet. Does that make sense? And as soon as you don't want to feel something, that particular area will affect that particular part of your body. So in other words, straight away lower back pain. Right?
See, I'm not aware of stuff with friends. It was like the anniversary of my mother, her death.
Yep.
Plus, people who weren't close to me, all in a week. Like this person died, and this person died, and this one. It's just.
So it's not only just death, it's also your mum's death.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also this aspect of death too.
Yeah.
Which is very much linked to this underlying emotion that you're struggling to let yourself feel.
Which I don't know what it is.
And it doesn't matter for you to know, all you need to do is start praying about it.
Okay.
Pray that over the coming weeks the law of attraction will show you what that's about. Right?
What about thought?
All right. So the emotion starts flowing, which means the emotion will start flowing all over the place generally. But now what will happen is you'll go through cycles where different areas of your body will hurt.
Great.
Right? Oh, didn't I tell you that? Sorry. And I've had terrible pains in almost all parts of my body at different times. And when I say terrible pains, like sometimes I've been laid up for a couple of weeks with the pain. So there was one time, I remember calling someone on the phone, this was after 2 weeks. I felt like I'd been kicked in the balls for 2 weeks. And so I couldn't get up, I couldn't move, I used to crawl, I was living by myself, and I used to crawl from my bed to cook myself some food to eat, and then I would crawl onto the lounge suite and I'd stay there for the whole day, and then I'd crawl back to bed. And that was my existence for 2 weeks, because I couldn't move. Right?
Is that because of the suppression of the emotion, or because the emotion was flowing that you what would be released if it's in the body?
No, it was me suppressing an emotion to do with, it was to do with an event when I was 20 in the first century of being kicked pretty badly around, and a lot of other emotions tied in with that. And I didn't know that at the time. All I did was just feel like this terrible pain. Right? And it wasn't until later, once I released that emotion, that I realised that pain was all about that particular emotion. Yeah.